Welcome to the Notorious Scoundrels, a Star Wars Legion podcast bringing you the latest news, general perspective, and competitive discussion.
Hello and welcome back to the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle. I'm here with Mike and Jay. What's up, gentlemen?
Did you forget our names? Is that why you paused?
No.
That was weird.
Wasn't it? It was like, and I'm back here with Mike and Jay.
I'm tired, Mike. But
Okay.
mostly it was for dramatic effect, right?
Okay.
That's like a device that people use when they're talking, right?
Sure. I just figured, we could talk about it because it seemed weird. Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah. Rocking and rolling.
You sound very excited, Jay.
Yeah, that threw me off. I'm going to be honest with you, Kyle. You threw me off there for a little bit. That pause really, I was ready to go, and then monkey wrench right in the old works.
I'm trying to mix it up, Jay.
That's what I appreciate about you, Kyle. You like to mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to talk about Stormtide. Did you see how I did another dramatic pause there? And we're also going to talk about the Super Tactical Droids, or STDs, if you will. And
He really likes saying that.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
it's an acronym. What can I say? It's an
Yeah.
accurate acronym. We have AMG has said who will be the new Legion dev, so we're going to talk about that briefly, and then we're also going to talk about Invader because those signups were today, which is Monday. We record on Mondays, so we'll hit all that. But first, let's hit housekeeping.
Yeah, okay. So the normal, hey, join us on Patreon. We have a special podcast on there. We just did a live Q&A, and a bunch of our Patreon members got to come on and ask us questions, and we just published that so you guys can all listen to it, which is super cool. You know, you can ask anything of us. We'll talk to you about anything, which is awesome. And there's other rewards and stuff and cool like insights to the Fifth Trooper, and you can help support the podcast and the blog, which is great. So let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about Stormtide. And I'm excited. So today-ish, the last 2 or 3 days, in the next couple days, people should be getting their Stormtide in the mail, which is very cool, and can begin playing, which is awesome. So on top of that, something that's really exciting is if you do have Stormtide and you didn't see the email or anything today, or you're just kind of wondering about it, Stormtide is available for list building now on Legion HQ. We've added some of the divisional lists on there, which are all the units you'll have on your ship when you start the narrative campaign. And then you can also add the Stormtide commander into 500 and 800 and 1600 point lists as well now. So for those of you who are playing Stormtide and who subscribe, you can now use Legion HQ to build out your lists. And for those of you who haven't subscribed, you can check out the commander and some of the command cards, see if you're interested. It'll be cool to just kind of play with and check it out.
Yeah, just to kind of talk about that a little bit more. The way that you do that is you kind of click on the points value on Legion HQ. It actually populates a menu instead of just rotating through the points now. So you can pick Skirmish, Standard, Grand Army, and then all the Stormtide divisions. It's a kind of a little drop-down menu. So that's how you get to that functionality. Yeah,
and then the Stormtide commander is in the commander slot for all factions on all lists. Point system. So that's all in there. That's real exciting. We've been I know we've talked about this the last couple months or so on this podcast and elsewhere, but I can't tell you how excited I am and thankful I am to everyone who subscribed and really believed in us, that they put their money right where their mouth is and really backed this insane project without fully knowing what we had in store for them, and hopefully that's paying off for them. I believe it is, and that you all who have supported us and subscribed to Stormtide are getting exactly what you wanted to get, and we're really looking forward to seeing all the pictures and our free mission that we did. We've been seeing tons of feedback and pictures and images, and people seem to be really enjoying it. So I'm excited, as I'm sure Mike is, to see this in people's hands, and thankful that not just the people for Stormtide, but for you listening and supporting us and reading our blog articles and our Patreon members. Like, this has been, I don't know, it's coming up on 3 years or so now since Fifth Trooper has really started, from when I started the podcast and I interviewed Kyle on like our second episode. And it's been a whirlwind adventure for the last 3 years. And so it's been amazing, and it couldn't have happened without all of your support at home listening and being there for us. So thank you so much.
Man, 3 years. Weird.
It feels like a lot longer than that, for whatever it's worth.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Well, we had the forever
both,
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels both longer and shorter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we hit some news?
Let's do it.
Welcome to In the News.
So if you happened to miss the news, then you probably weren't watching the AMG painting stream. Is that where it was about the new, or who our Legion dev is, basically?
Yeah, I guess you got to watch paint dry to get anything out of these guys. I don't know.
That's so good.
And yet so bad. Yes. So Will Pagani, who is the MCP lead developer, also, is that accurate?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
So is he one of these dudes that, now my understanding of Atomic Mass Games is they did Warcry or something before this? What was the game they worked
I believe
on?
I think they worked at like Privateer Press or something.
War Machine.
War Machine.
There we are. Yeah.
Which-
So was he one of the dudes that worked on a tabletop game before?
He's a War Machine guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's, I mean, MCP is a good game. It's
an okay game.
Yeah, I no, it is. I was going somewhere else with this. It's, I don't know how I feel about some, like, they basically said like, all right, you have 2 jobs now. Then
Yeah.
it was kind of nice when, like, there was just a guy for Legion.
There was 2, actually.
Well,
if I
yes.
recall.
Right. If you go all the way back to Alex and Luke.
Yeah. I definitely, I'm hesitant, I guess. We'll see.
I'm glad that they basically said something and said, like, here is a person. This is the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it. All right. I'm not to like pour gasoline on, but I'm just gonna say this because it annoys me. I don't like their streams, number one, and I don't like that they use them to just arbitrarily throw out information to try to trick all of us into watching them. I don't like it. I don't like it. Sorry.
Actually, I'm going to be honest. I have not actually seen any of them.
Exactly. No one
I
has.
don't either. And it's I feel a certain type of way about having to watch something that I'm completely not interested or invested in order to get updates about this game that we all love to play, or hobby or whatever. And I mean, I don't know.
It would be, just so everybody understands the equivalent of this, it would be like me live streaming me doing the art for Stormtide and throwing in insane spoilers into that, but you had to sit there for 4 hours and watch me draw. Like, it just I don't understand it. Like, the two, and I get AMG wants to be like this hobby first connect. Okay, cool, man. You want to be focused on the hobby? Great. I love painting. We have Dustin on our team. Like, we clearly embrace the hobby as well. But like, I don't know, maybe like a State of Legion monthly, like, hey, here's everything that we want to talk about. Boom, 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 boom. Not watch me paint something and then I'm gonna throw in some random, like,
I mean, I think it could very easily just like, if you're going to release this information, which thank you for releasing it all, I guess. Like, it would be helpful if they just like had a Twitter, but like, hey, the newly developed.
Put it in a tweet.
They use the Twitter. Sorry.
Yes.
For the information. I mean, look, the guys on the painting streams are great. They're, good
Oh yeah, we're
people.
not disparaging
I
their
just like
skills, right?
and like the people that want to watch them, I'm sure are getting a ton out of that content. It's just like it's just not really super helpful to have like it feels like we're getting it through back channels, I guess.
So
I
I'd
don't know.
like to say, as an aside, they do post that stuff on their Twitter afterwards. Just so everybody knows, just to be clear.
Okay.
What do you mean?
So like all the Tac Droid stuff is on their Twitter page.
Sure,
I thought
but
that was like initially pushed out via Twitter.
Could have
Tac
been.
Droid stuff.
I don't know, but there's
unit
some
cards
stuff.
and stuff, like the unit cards and the upgrade cards and stuff. Yeah, they're good about pushing that out.
Yeah. I just want to make sure like we didn't say something and then somebody came back and be like, what are you talking about? They post stuff on their Twitter all the time. Yeah, we know they do. That's not what we're talking about.
I'm not really talking about like I also sort of could. A lot of people are going to disagree with me here. I could care less about the unit cards and command cards and stuff as far as like getting them in advance. Like it's nice, but like whatever. I know we're going to talk about some today. I'm sure
Mike,
people are, whatever.
Do you want to just kill all our content for every episode? Jeez, Mike, what?
Well, it would just not be content now. It would be content later, right? So
it'd be nice to get them all at once so that we're not looking at things in piecemeal contexts.
That's not an AMG problem though. That's been a problem for
no, I know.
But like nowhere on their Twitter does it say, hey, Star Wars Legion fans, we just wanted to let you know that your game is taken care of, and Will Pagani is now going to be leading the development team for it, right? Instead, we got like one of the painting guys or whatever just being like, oh yeah, and Will Pagani is heading the development team for whatever. And I appreciate that information, but I don't know. I don't want to bash on it too much, but that's how I'm feeling about it.
I am glad that they basically that information was disseminated publicly in some fashion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Everybody's a critic.
Yep. That's literally what we do. Aren't we? Like we're pundits basically, right? Except for
we're professional critics. So I don't know, whatever.
You guys are professionals for sure. I'm just a guy.
You're a great guy, Jay.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Let's talk about.
Hold on, before we move on, can I ask a question?
Sure. Yeah,
sure. So we're not happy about the way. Do we believe because Alex and Luke and FFG had a policy of them being so much in the public that that's kind of our expectation moving forward with Legion, and that's why we feel this way? Or would we feel this way even if they were secretive from the beginning and limited access to the developers from the beginning?
So this is how I feel about it. And it's maybe not a one-to-one comparison, but let's say that you love, I don't know, Blizzard Entertainment because they're in the limelight right now and they're getting a lot of crap. But I think for different reasons, clearly.
Yeah.
But
very different reasons.
And I want to make that clear. Like, but I think it's a good case study because I think a lot of people that play Legion and stuff will at least know of Blizzard Entertainment and know those games and all that jazz. But like when somebody steps down at Blizzard and gets replaced or gets fired at Blizzard and gets replaced, you know what happens immediately is a press release that says, hey, just so you guys know, so-and-so is now the lead developer of World of Warcraft, or, the new dev on the Diablo team is such and such. And like, look, it's not going to quell the fact that like a bunch of crap happened and like clearly there were problems, but at least it shows that you have the like maturity as a company to display some like amount of projected stability. Like at least it looks like you have a handle on what's going on. And
So would I say then this isn't an AMG problem then? This is an Asmodee problem, right? Because so let's not forget that they all answer to a higher power that is not themselves, right? So
Oh,
maybe
definitely.
yeah.
I think it's very unclear, at least to me. And I feel like I probably have more insight into this than the most. I mean, you guys do too, but like where Atomic Mass or FFG ends and Asmodee kind of begins. Like clearly Asmodee owns those companies, but like I'm not sure I've ever met someone that's like just an employee of Asmodee. You know?
I have, but
Sure.
for different reasons.
sure.
Yeah.
I just like so when I hear, oh, it's Asmodee,
Yeah.
I literally couldn't name one person that works for Asmodee that doesn't work for AMG or FFG. Like I couldn't give you a name. So like saying it's Asmodee to me is like, oh, it was, God, or like some invisible thing that is not really comprehensible.
I feel like
me.
quoting the usual suspects here, because right, isn't that like the best trick the devil ever pulled was making you believe he didn't exist? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe we're pointing the blame ray at AMG and getting all in everyone. Not I the royal we, the community, when really the aim ray needs to go up a level, and maybe we're barking at the wrong the wrong cat.
It's very possible that that's the case. I don't know.
I get what you're saying, Mike, though. It's not clear, like, even if you were to say like Asmodee is responsible for a given personnel decision, what does that mean? Like who like,
is Asmodee?
Right, exactly.
Like I don't know the answer to that question.
And I'm sure there is, these are people that are like executives that we just as miniatures gamers, we don't have any concept of, because they're Asmodee executives in France or wherever.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's very nebulous. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's nebulous. It's and I think that's also why sometimes, at least I think to me, it sort of feels frustrating. It's like I don't know who to be mad at if if it's not AMG's fault. Like who am I supposed to air my grievances to? Who should I be writing the letter of, hey, I'm unhappy with the services you're providing?
We have a
you
popular podcast, so probably right now this is your letter, I think.
Sure. I think that's fair. Not everybody has that platform, right? We have you
send us your letters, we'll read them out loud on the podcast.
No, we will not.
I think the Asmodee executives, whoever those are, probably don't listen to this podcast.
The great and powerful Oz.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think,
yeah, exactly.
at least for me, if there are people that like work for AMG that are listening to this podcast or whatever, or like hear of this podcast and we were complaining or whatever, I still want them to succeed. Like, and I want to be clear about that. Like we're grinding on them right now, but like I want them to succeed. I just want to feel like they're also our advocate. And right now, I'm not feeling that. And they may be. And it might be totally unfair that we're critiquing and chastising whatever is going on in their name. But there's really nowhere else to point the finger, I feel like, at this juncture, other than the nebula, which isn't super helpful. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, from someone who has worked many, many years in corporate America, it just stinks of someone who doesn't really know the day-to-day making decisions on day-to-day operations and leaving everyone else to pick up the pieces, and then leaving us to sit here and point fingers at people who maybe didn't have a choice, decision, or say in any of it, right? And so it's interesting. And the other thing is, we don't know there may have been very valid reasons behind all of this. And without that transparency, right? Yeah, we're all left to kind of go, what? You take all our money. We give you all our money for this game, and you're not giving us any information. But I would say there's probably a large majority of the population of Legion players that don't even A, listen to us, and B, even know what's going on. They're just like, oh, there's an ATST at the store. Great. I'm going to buy it, And so as someone who in the past and even in the present plays certain games casually, and I just, there's games I play, miniature games, that I don't know who the developer is. I honestly could care less. I just like the game, and I think it's interesting, and I play it. So it's just I know we're kind of treading old water here, but I'm just trying to say, I don't know.
I think that's fair.
And certainly the reason that we're so animated about this is because we love Legion.
Yep.
And we certainly wish our new overlords the best, because of how much we love the game. So
right, we're clearly passionate about it. We've literally been talking about it every week for the last 3 years. So I mean, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So at least once a week, if not more.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we are as invested as you at home are, if not more at times, and we just want transparency.
Yep.
That's all we're asking. If you're listening to me, faceless Asmodee C-level person who just stumbled upon this podcast today, we just want some transparency. That's all we want.
Yep.
Transparency.
That's the news.
Word of the day.
Job.
Yeah.
Word of the day. Transparency.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Speaking of transparency, let's talk about some new units.
Get ready for advanced tactics.
All right, now you guys are going to have to explain these to me because I have not been paying attention.
Explain.
Well, let's
do we
talk
need to
about
explain
them
what this
before we
is?
explain anything.
Yeah.
Do we need to explain what a super tactical droid is, like in Star Wars lore?
Please. Yeah,
Okay.
Let's start there.
I mean, it's like an upgraded tactical droid. They're basically
Whoa.
okay. Fine, you go, Mike.
We've already started on the wrong path, right, Mike? All right,
An
go ahead.
upgraded tactical droid. All right, look, super tactical droids are supposed to be the end all be all in warfare strategy. They compute everything and anything, and basically compute all the simulations and figure out exactly what the enemy's supposed to do so that you can take the most strategic and tactical approach to defeat it, right?
So they're like the Kyle.
Yes,
droids.
like
Okay.
if Kyle was, we always made the joke about Kyle being the tactical droid commander. That's not really fair. Kyle would be the super tactical droid commander because that's the level that these are operating at. So they're not an upgraded tactical droid. They're like a
Yeah, Kyle. They clearly have super in their name. You dummy.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
So when we're done explaining each one and going through them, I want you to decide which one you are, Kyle. That's our next mission.
Oh, I already know the answer to that one.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear it.
It's also the one I'm probably going to end up using the most in the game. So I'll let you guys guess once we're done, and then I'll tell you. All right. So there are 3 super tactical droids.
Yep.
Importantly, they're all unique, which means that you can only field one super tactical droid, period, regardless of what type you field.
Yes. And just some lore insight there. That's because these were extraordinarily rare. You don't
and
you would have one of these in an entire separatist.
So I guess if you're thinking about it, it would be like, hey, you get to build one of these for your army and you need to decide which one to build, and that's it because you only got the parts and the stuff for the one.
Yeah, it's like, your scientists could only have the memory core, the stuff to build one memory core or whatever. Clearly there were multiple, but they were very rare as far as.
It's like trying to find an RTX 3080,
Yeah.
If you get that joke, you get that joke.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and they're kind of divas too. These are, you picture a little bit like, General MacArthur from World War II. Does not get along well with other generals kind of situation. Like if there were ever two super tactical droids in one place, it would be a problem. So
All right.
yeah. So in game you can only have one, period.
Yep.
Let's talk about the generic one first.
All right.
So generic super tactical droid, 95 points.
Yep.
So this is a expensive support commander. Two command slots, one comms slot, and one gear slot. 5 health, 2 courage, a red save, surge hit, speed 2 like most troopers. He's got 2 weapon profiles, melee is black, and the ranged weapon is red-white with lethal 1. Overseer's E5 blaster rifle. It's decent because he also has sharpshooter 1. So it's basically the same profile as like the generic 55 point tactical droid, except it also has lethal 1.
Mm.
Well, and it has red saves.
Yeah, sorry, I mean the weapon profile.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I just wanted to become like, this is not the same profile.
Yeah, 5 health and red saves is a very big difference from 4 health and white no surge save.
This looks kind of like Rex to me. I don't know.
Minus the gunslinger and the tactical.
Look, we haven't gotten to the keywords yet.
Yeah. All right, so keywords: strategize 1 as an action. Gain 1 suppression token to choose a friendly unit at range 1. It gains 1 aim and 1 dodge token. So looks very similar to calculate odds on its face. There's 2 key differences here. The first is that the suppression goes on the tactical droid and not on your target.
Yep.
The second is that it is not restricted to trooper units. So interesting.
Yep.
It's basically calculate odds though, for all intents and purposes. Besides those 2 important differences.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, direct AI unit. So this is similar. This is the same keyword that's on the regular tactical droid, except it is AI unit.
Which is fundamentally way better because that is everything the normal tactical droid can issue orders to and a bunch of other things, right?
Right. Yes.
This is droidecas, this is staps. Do AATs have AI?
Yep.
They do, right? Like it's your AAT. It's basically any droid or vehicle in this army, right?
It's everything except your characters, basically.
Right. It hits everything but Grievous, Dooku, Bane, Maul. That's probably it, right?
And generic tactical droids.
Sure.
Yeah. Or importantly, by the way, stuff that like loses the AI keyword because you take an upgrade.
Sure, like
So,
B2s with tac droids do not.
You could not direct to a B2 with a T-series upgrade with this. Importantly, so keep that in mind if you're taking that upgrade on B2s.
Yeah.
Of course, you could just direct to a B1 and then bounce it to a B2. I think 95% of the time, if you're using B1s, this probably still just goes to your B1 chain, basically.
Yeah, I definitely think this is just like, it's a tactical droid. The original tactical droid had direct. I don't know. I think it's fine.
All right, let's talk about this next one.
Yeah, go on, keep going.
It's not been long enough for me to rant about something, but override 1. When a friendly unit at range 1 activates, you may gain 1 suppression token. If you do, that unit ignores AI during its activation.
Yeah. So at first glance here, so I just want to be real clear. Override 1 is the number only refers to the range.
The range.
And we can tell that based on one of the other alternate profiles we see later on. This triggers or has the potential to trigger on every activation that is within range.
Yes.
Right. So if you have 3 droidecas in range of your super tac droid, you can gain 1 suppression each time they activate to just ignore AI on all of them.
This is like compel, but for ignoring AI, and the suppression goes on the tactical droid instead of on the unit.
Can you imagine how good Campbell would be if Krennic got the suppression instead of the trooper unit?
And if Krennic was a droid trooper instead of a person.
Right, he didn't care about the suppression either.
Until he panics anyway. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, this is real good. This is really good, I think. At least at first blush here, at least for the generic, I think the majority of the points you're paying for is for override.
Yep. Agree.
And I mean, it basically negates the drawback that separatists are supposed to have, right? Like separatists are supposed to be on AI if they don't have orders, and super tactical droids, I'm sure because they're super, are like, you can do whatever you want because I'm amazing, right? This feels like danger territory to me.
Yes.
As far as
yes,
you know, my spider senses are saying danger, Mike Berry, danger. You know, as far as like things that are, you know, could break things go, this is on the list. I don't know.
Well,
what's your take on it, Jay? And then
I mean, I understand what you're saying, how it seemed like, because it's the range. So then it can be 3, 4, 5, whatever is within that range, right? But I mean, it can only probably happen once at that level because of their courage, right? Because the super tactical is going to be getting the suppression. So unless they have some way to remove the suppression, you're kind of maybe messing with your commander a little hard too. But that could be a good push towards like an end objective though, right? Am I reading that correctly?
Well, remember, droid troopers don't care about suppression.
Yeah. Well, they do.
They do if they're panicked.
Right.
Sure.
But they have courage too. So that's 4. So you can do this 4 times before you even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
In a turn. And of course they can just like
I guess what I was just saying was that there's kind of an upper limit to it to a degree. It's not like an infinite thing that you can just keep doing it. I think there's some limitation to it.
Well,
I mean, you can't do it like 5 times a turn, but you probably also don't need to do it 5 times a turn.
Yeah.
But I think maybe what's more important is that if you need to do it 5 times in a turn,
you can. Yeah.
Right. And
maybe your tactical droid panics.
Right.
After you're done doing all those things, but like usually when you like, so as a primary separatist player, even building lists that are designed to basically mitigate AI, mitigating AI and ignoring AI are not the same thing. Those are very different. People are like, oh well, you can just ignore AI anyway because B1s, and it's kind of a non-keyword anyway, so who cares about override? But the only reason it feels like a non-keyword is because separatist players go to great lengths to make sure that keyword doesn't trigger. You build armies consisting significantly of B1s or units that have an expensive upgrade that lets them remove their AI ability, like B2s with the T series, right? So that's a list building restriction that AI places on you. And then it also places on you a positioning restriction. Your B1s all have to be close to each other. And if you want them to coordinate to another unit that has AI that you're trying to avoid via a face-up, then that unit also has to be close to your B1s. So, one thing that's sort of liberating about using B2s with a T series, which again is an expensive, it's an 18-point upgrade, is that you can kind of play them like a quote unquote normal core unit. And if you need to like deploy them on a flank to deal with R2 or do some other thing, you can, or deploy them range 2 away from your main force. You can do that. That's fine. If you need to like move around a line of sight blocker that's, wider than range 1, you can do that. You don't have to pick a side, which if you've got a horde of B1s, you got to pick one side, So this just basically takes all that and is like, yeah, whatever.
I also, so my gut instinct here is saying that I'm less worried about this as it comes to core units, because I think overall separatist players do build, and it's frankly it's not that expensive to build to make sure that those things are working. I think this makes units particularly sniper strike teams,
Yep.
and droidecas, both which are very difficult or very expensive to mitigate AI on. Um, Exceedingly more of a mainstay. Like all of a sudden, you can now aim shoot with your double red snipers with Pierce, right?
Yeah, just park
Oh.
three of them next to your super tac.
Right.
I think that's for sure more reasonable, but with the droidicas, like it seems like that's more of a because don't you want those moving up and like getting in the fray a little bit more than you would your snipers? Like I could see the snipers, right? That's easy, right? That's the same Veer's move, right? Keep them back, handing out aims and stuff with your snipers, but like I don't know, droidica's a little bit harder to do because they're getting into the mix.
Well, you can also cohere the droidecas backwards, right? So like that's like a little bit. You really only need to be like at range 2 of the lead droideca, kind of, between the base and the range 1 move or whatever. So I mean, yeah. I also think that the super tac can be a bit more aggro, if you will, than normal tac droids. Like it's got a red defense die, it's got 5 health. It's not gonna like, you shouldn't like put it out there to get shot, right? But I definitely think that it's got a little bit more play there. I think it might not be super good on the droidecas, but I think if I had to pick 2 units in the Separatist army that right now AI regularly triggers on that you could use to the super tac to mitigate, those are the 2 that stick out to me.
Yep, and the third unit I would actually add 2 units to that list: B2s with ACMs and no T series upgrade.
Oh, sure, yeah, you definitely don't have to like pour 20 points into every B2 unit to make them functional now, right? Which is, again, I think maybe to Jay's point there, there's still the kind of the range 2. You got to get up in there, but I don't really think that's that big a deal. And I also think in the meta that we think is coming, otherwise the Magic School Bus meta,
it's already here. Lone Star Open.
Yeah. Right. They're gonna come to you.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think this makes all those units a lot better.
Yep, and I would add Magna Guard to that list too. So.
Yeah, it's unclear to me how much they actually need the order.
Yeah.
But yeah, just between like retinue and the fact that they're moving AI melee unit. But I do think like as far as like units to take your Magna Guard with, like a Super Tac Droid seems fine to me.
Yeah, because he can get up in the mix a little bit more to trigger that retinue. If he does get shot, you can use that Guardian. So,
yeah, I mean, between retinue and strategize, you can be handing like double aimed Magna Guard shots before they even like, if AI is going off, right?
Seems good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and you made a comment there too, basically about the current units, right? Like, this applies to any future unit that also has AI, which could potentially be a lot of units. So, this could be like a token sharing situation where like it looks fine when you're using it on phase 1s, but then ARC Troopers in phase 2 comes out and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we have seen there are very few effects in Legion that are global like this,
uncapped.
Global uncapped effects. I think it's what compel, token sharing. Is that the end of the list that's in the game right now?
I'm sure that's not exhaustive, but it's what I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, Dauntless is
a single unit.
Just one unit, right? I don't think. Yeah, I think everything else is pretty much capped. If we've forgotten something, feel free to share it in the comments so that you can tell us how silly we are. I think anytime you put a global effect like this in a game, I think you have to be very cautious. I remember the last edition of 40K. I opened up the Space Marine Codex, and like every Space Marine like 40-point hero had like some sort of global effect that like bumped your saves or made I was like, oh, this is crazy good. But yeah,
especially, and it's compel's a little different because compel's not like specifically ignore a weakness of the faction kind of situation. This is
I mean, I'm not sure that's fair. I mean, like being courage 1 is innately a weakness of the faction at this point.
Yeah.
I would argue,
but rebels have the same problem, and
yeah, rebels don't rely on their core units like Empire does.
No, they don't. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but it's also like AI is supposed to be like a faction defining thing that you have to work around, and this just says like, whatevs.
Yeah, let's talk about the other two. I guess we can call them, if you're into Loki these days, variants.
There you go.
Should probably do the Kraken one, right?
Let's do Kraken next because he's the most similar. So ways that Kraken is different from the base profile, he has all the same slots except he also has a training slot, which I think you're probably going to be putting endurance in most of the time.
Yeah, which cannot be overstated, I think.
Yeah, because it helps mitigate override.
Yep. Which he also has. He has strategize 1, just like the regular. He's got the same defense profile and stuff. He surges crit instead of surge hit. He's got sharpshooter 2 instead of sharpshooter 1, and also native pierce double black on his E5, so a significantly better ranged attack profile. And then in melee, 4 red with lethal 1. This is the same attack that Chewie has. It's even called the same thing, I think, right? Overwhelm. Yeah. Is this the tactical droid that like punches Anakin?
I think it is.
Okay.
I would have to look it up, frankly, but I would be surprised if it was.
Yeah. That would seem to give some justification for the melee profile, I guess. He's got charge.
just to add insult to injury. I'm gonna be honest here. I know. Yeah, I'm finished, and then I'll add my piece.
Okay. And then override 2, which is why we know that the number refers to the range, because it says when a friendly unit at range 1 to 2 activates. So extended range override, basically. He doesn't. So the primary difference here is he does not have direct.
Yeah,
and he's only 5 points more.
So that's what I was gonna say. I mean, like on its face here, like I don't know what direct AI unit is valued at, but man, the 5-point bump for that profile difference feels like, if you can only take 1 super tack, I'd almost always take Kraken. I feel like,
and then put an uplink on one of your B1s.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm maybe I will be proven to be wrong there, but I'm not sure that's true. I just, I guess I could see maybe the super tack and like the generic super tack and more of like a B2 heavy build with actual tack droids or something. I don't know. But like you give that guy tenacity, he's like a mini Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Seems really good.
And run him alongside Magna Guard so they can Guardian for him.
Yeah. I just it seems excellent. I don't know what else to say other than it seems really excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I guess just maybe to elaborate on it a little bit more, I think the range difference on override here, like the difference between range 1 and 2 is very large.
Very large.
It's substantial. Because you're talking about, you can cohere your models backwards. Just having all of that flexibility in there, I think really adds to that. I mean, you can effectively be like almost range 3 away from the tac droid and still be in override range if you're cohered properly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, and it allows you with him, if I'm reading this right, like it allows you to go get in the mix with him, but then still be able to give override to your snipers potentially, right? So like where you're talking about moving your army forward and him being back, but now he could go forward and still be affecting things behind him, which is wild.
Yep. All right. Well, should we hit the last one?
Yeah,
All right.
Let's do it.
Kalani. So this was the tactical droid in that Rebels episode, right?
I think so.
Where they basically like found the old Separatist army and they were like reactivated, basically.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So he is primary differences from the base tactical droid. He's got 3 command slots.
The only unit in the game, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. What do you do with 3 command slots?
I mean, I could see an argument for like aggressive tactics, vigilance, and strict orders. Just take like all of the. I mean, like separatists probably don't care a ton about vigilance, but if you're running like Grievous or Dooku with them, or Maul, like having vigilance in the list just to hold a dodge token isn't horrible.
Yeah, and you could also, I think, can you use commanding presence to extend your direct range? Is that a thing?
Yes, because in direct it says things that affect order range affect direct as well.
So you could give him a range 4 direct with commanding presence, basically.
Yeah, I guess that would be fine.
I mean, you know, it's like whatever, 3 command slots. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's go through what he does.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then he does not have a training slot. He's got a comm slot and a gear slot. I actually think vigilance is a good candidate here for reasons we'll get into. One of them is that he has strategized 2. So this is like calculate on 2 separate units.
No. I want to be real clear. This is the equivalent of take cover 2 and spotter 2
at the same
in
time.
the same action.
Yes.
Oh man, this guy would be really good with tanks.
Uh,
It's funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
Yep. He's got direct AI like the regular. He does not have override.
Which is the primary functional difference.
Right. And the primary drawback for taking Kalani.
Yeah.
He has I think this is a new keyword, reinforcements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You may deploy after all units without reinforcements have deployed. That's kind of nice. I don't know how like big of a difference that makes on your commander, who it's usually like with a support commander reasonably obvious where they're going to go.
I guess it would matter if you're playing. The only time it matters if you're low on activations and you need
you're playing separatists, man.
No, I know. I'm saying when would it matter, right? The only time it would matter is if you're low on activations and you're trying to get him in a position, like let's say with the double tank, you're trying to get him in a position where he can give out those aims and dodges to those tanks, and then you can kind of decide where that is at the very end.
You got to put the tanks down first, though. Right, so like they kind of
but you want him to be like in a
go.
safe spot so you can kind of see what they're doing before you put him in his spot to do that. I guess I don't really know. I'm reacting to this in the moment, so I don't know exactly how I would do this or
I think
why that matters.
I don't think this keyword matters a lot.
On him, it doesn't.
No, I think if this was on other units. There are ways to get this keyword on other units, like on an upgrade or something. That could be a significant game changer.
Yeah.
But I think just on a standard, on this unit card, meh.
Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah.
Sharpshooter 2 instead of sharpshooter 1, but his dice are also worse. He's got black white instead of red white on his U5. So.
Yeah, I almost think the base Super Tac Droid is better than this guy. Like the Strategize 2 is cool. But I think I would rather have the base Super Tac Droid.
It depends on whether you have a plan for using override or not. if you're just fielding like a conventional, I'm going to use my B1s and coordinate to mitigate AI, and I want my extra 2 green tokens every turn, then I think Kalani is a good consideration.
So normally I'd agree with you, but I'm going to go back to we're in magical bus meta land, and I think people are going to be running comms jammers left, right, and center, and I think Override's going to bail you out.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's dramatic. The situations it's going to be able to bail you out of, I think, are really important.
Yeah, and frankly, like especially for a bus meta where your opponent's up in your face, Kraken's better attack profiles are going to be much more relevant anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seems like you're probably going to be taking him and just buying an uplink or something for, and you can even, I mean, these Override really opens up list building in a way that Separatist players, I think, have not, their mind hasn't like exploded appropriately yet. Like you could run a list with just 3 naked B1s in it, and then just field a bunch of other junk like a rebel list.
Yeah.
If you want. Like think of the possibilities there. So yeah, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think that these are they're really stellar. Do we know if they have command cards or anything?
We know that they have command cards. I think we even know what they're called, but we don't know what they do.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Asmodee store page, let's see. There's no link to the Asmodee store page on on this tweet.
Excellent.
Or maybe I'm just bad at Twitter.
This is not the crap talking things they do something.
Nope, there is no link to the. Okay, hang on.
Asmodee, North America.
I'm trying to find your product page, Asmodee. That should be the one thing you're good at.
Oh, it does not come up on Google really easily. That's interesting.
Okay, here we go. Super Tactical Droid Commander Expansion. Where did I see this card spread? There it is. Okay. Yeah, we know the name of one of the command cards, which is They Too Will Suffer. And it appears to be Kraken electrocuting somebody.
Nice.
Yeah. Which I think, if you look super close, might even be the same image that's like on his. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So they do have command cards. We don't know what they do.
Okay. So I mean, like, yeah, I think for the cost, it's really hard to. I mean, I think they should probably be in every Separatist player's arsenal even before we see the command cards.
Yeah.
I think these command cards could basically be minor upgrades over ambush, push, and assault. And, I would take this guy over a standard tactical droid 9.9 times out of 10. So,
yeah, it's one of those like you find the 40 to 45 points to make that happen.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Like the normal tactical droid is really just a direct stick, and this is like a direct stick that like actually does things.
Yep. It's a direct stick that actually also does support commander things.
and like Kraken is like he's a decent melee linebacker.
Yeah.
If like a Jedi like embeds himself in your lines, like slapping them with 4 red dice is like no joke. I don't know.
I do in fact picture a super tactical droid slapping somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's what they would do. They would walk up and like just slap fight. But yeah, I agree. I'm excited as a Separatist player. Whether or not you think override is a good thing for the game or for the faction is another question.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely I think like everything else in this game, be excited to play it. I feel very similarly about like burst of speed, if you're into Jedis and you like playing Jedis, like get excited. I think if it was up to me, like both of these things would get nerfed into the ground as soon as possible, but it's not up to me. So we'll see. I definitely think that this is less of an issue than burst, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. It might be more of a. It's definitely more of a systemic issue as part of a.
I think once separatist players figure out that this kind of just blows their list building restrictions wide open, in a faction that already has very good internal balance, I think you're going to see some interesting and very different droid builds than you're used to. So
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like droids already have like excellent variety in their even despite the hoops you kind of have to jump through to mitigate AI in their competitive list building. But yeah, they're definitely gonna have more. So be excited, separatist players. All right. Should we hit Invader briefly? Signups for today.
Yeah, let's do it.
I actually did not listen to the last week because I was at the beach, but did you guys talk about Invader already last week?
We did. I think I don't remember if I talked about the list I was going to play. I know Jay. I have submitted my list already, so I can.
I have too. Yeah.
But Jay was talking about the fact that he was unsure if he was going to play an Invader. Jay, have you made up your mind? Have you registered?
I'm not playing.
Okay.
That's listen, I'll be honest with everybody at home. It's I love playing. It's just hard for me to make time for it. And I always feel bad because I end up either, not being able to make the time or getting annoyed because I can't find the time. It's never fun for me. And so I'll sit this one out. It's just better this way. It's just better this way for everyone.
So Kyle.
Yep.
What did you register?
Maul B2s.
Maul B2s. Oh man.
It would be a different story if the unit legality was different, but
I think everybody can answer that question with it would be different if the unit legality was
but
different.
this is literally the same the same unit restrictions that we had at Lone Star Open, and I felt like clearly I would have made some changes to that list, notably cutting some stuff for bid, which I may or may I have not decided whether I'm going to do that this time or not. But the point is, like, I felt like that list was a good fit for that meta, which was a very armor heavy meta. It's a list with impact 8. So I'm going to just keep playing it until it stops working for me.
Sure.
Or until the Super Tactical Droid comes out, whichever of those things happen first. But then maybe you just slot the Super Tactical Droid into a Maul B2 list.
I don't think it's that hard.
And do strategize on Maul.
Yeah. Seems good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
What about you, Mike?
I am playing a list I have titled "It's Not Rexstar."
All right.
And I'm taking Obi-Wan Kenobi to the round robin this season. Figured I would. I actually think they're like, with the melee SKUs being kind of what they are these days, Rexstar has lost a little bit of value. And like, if you get a couple sets of Wookiees in your lines, or I fully expect Rexstar to fall down real hard once burst of speed is legal. So I just sort of want to, I kind of expect it to be legal by eliminations, frankly. So I kind of just wanted to just keep practicing with force push, because I think we're entering the stage of the game where if you don't have force push in your list, you might just lose instantly. That's a little dramatic, and I'm sure we can talk about that in the weeks to come. But it might be a little over the top, but I don't think it's over the top. Oh my god! So. Yeah,
you've never had a hot take in the 3 years we've been doing this.
But I do think that Vader burst of speed is going to change the game. Fundamentally.
No. You guys are wrong.
Have you tried it, Jay?
No, how would I have tried it? No, I haven't tried it. Listen to me. I understand what it does. I want to be very clear. Fundamentally change the game. I think that's a little strong.
You can believe
Well,
that all
it's-
you want. I fully expect to see Invader single elims, Vader mirror matches left, right, and center.
Well,
unless-
if people are brave enough to actually play it,
yes, but I don't think.
I suspect people are going to just slap bursts on other Force users for the
Listen
most
to me.
part.
Listen.
I mean, if other people want to lose and not play Vader, that's fine.
Mike,
I think we know what you're playing for elims if you make
I
it, Mike.
love the Empire. I love it with all my heart.
Yeah.
And I want it to be great. Fundamentally change the game.
Yes. I will die on this hill. And like, have you played League of Legends?
I'm generally aware of it.
Okay, so there's a
The answer is no. I haven't played, but I'm
I
aware
don't
of
play
it.
League of Legends, but what I understand that there to be a like way to play League of Legends where you basically one person carries the team and like you let them farm all of the experience the entire game. I expect Vader to be a 200 point hard carry for Empire lists after Burst of Speed comes out.
Listen,
I think you literally could take 600 points of the worst units in the game and have a
Which, to be clear, is possibly stormtroopers.
right, which
Yeah.
right, which you potentially are taking 600 points of the worst units in the game, and I think you would have a strong chance to like easily, if you know what you're doing, like top 16 or top 8 Invader League.
dude, no. Strong doubt. Listen to me very clearly, Mike. I think, is Burst of Speed good? Yup. Is it fundamentally going to change the game? Nope. Because there's still some facts about Vader that are still true that Burst of Speed doesn't fix.
Well, if we're gonna talk about this, let's talk about those facts that are still true.
Can I do
about
one?
Vader.
Can I do one Vader fact real quick?
Yeah, please.
Second place at Lone Star Open, without Burst of Speed.
Yeah, well.
So I
Yeah, well.
so what is fundamentally still true with Burst of Speed?
Okay,
in the
so
map? Go
Vader
ahead.
fundamentally is still a glass cannon. And
I
I say this. Here's why
Why?
I say this. Okay. Yep. You ready? Yes. Does he roll red dice? Absolutely. Does he have significant health? Absolutely. These are both true facts. But Vader placed in a precarious spot dies just as easy as every other unit in the game. I believe that doesn't change with Burst of Speed. So if anything, Burst of Speed puts you into other units quicker. I get what you're saying. We went over this. I forgot what cast it was, but
Sure.
maybe it was the Scoundrels cast where we talked about, let's talk about the implacable turn. So you can do potentially 2 bursts of speed into a unit, put your token back into the bag, and then have another burst of speed for another. So maybe you're erasing 2 units, maybe during that turn. Okay, you still got the rest of their army, and Vader is still very susceptible to fire. And so even though he can get to them faster and he can get in the mix, which he loves to do, don't get me wrong, I understand what you're saying, but I just think that the game is at a point where there's a lot of things that could kill Vader. This isn't back when it's just Empire versus Rebels anymore. This is a different game now.
I 100% agree that it's a different game.
Yeah.
Hey, how many times have you taken a standby token on Darth Vader?
A handful, like not very often.
Yeah. So when you burst of speed into their army, and then the immediate, like, let's say that you then play Fear and Dead Men or Master of Evil or even Implacable, right?
Yeah.
So a couple of things. Standbys allow you to basically wait safely in melee. They can either withdraw or run away from Vader and your army and try and not trigger it, in which case they're doing nothing. or they do a thing within range 2 of Vader at a time when you can just clean up the unit you're in melee with and then walk away. I get where you're coming from. I know a lot of people have reservations about this.
Well, what I'm saying though, let's just, I don't want to, I know we're on time here, but the same, just because he's faster doesn't make the other things not true anymore. I think
I would argue that it does, because the amount of times he gets shot while not in melee are significantly reduced. Like your opponent, if you're playing Darkness Descends and Burst of Speed together correctly, should no longer be able to shoot Vader before he's in your army.
Here.
Maybe they get a standby off. Maybe.
Let's phrase it this way. Who's the best Force user in the game right now?
OP Luke.
I think it's Darth Maul.
I also think it's Darth Maul.
Okay.
Who's the most fragile Force user in the game?
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. Who's the most durable Force user in the game?
Darth Vader.
Yeah. So why is Darth Maul the best Force user in the game if he's also the most fragile Force user in the game?
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Yeah.
because he's the one that can most reliably and consistently get engaged with your opponent's force.
Yeah, but burst of speed is a one-time use.
Yeah, but once you're in the middle of your opponent's army, they have two options.
Mm-hmm.
They can choose to run away from your army and your objective tokens,
mm-hmm.
or they have to stay and chill in the Vader blender. Those are their options. Like as long as you are so the maybe main point here is that you have to choose to fight around something important, like a Vaporator or an objective token. Like if you're burst of speeding into their army at that juncture where you're basically saying, hey, you can stay here and stay in the Vader blender where I eat a unit every turn and safely stay in melee, or you can run away and just lose the game. Like if those are your options, you have to stay in the Vader blender. And because he's already in melee because of burst of speed, you can wait to activate him. And if they just want to take a bunch of standbys to deal with Vader, you can shoot him off with all your range 4 shore troopers, snipers, and RTC storms, right? And then they have effectively wasted their activations.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that all sounds great in theory, right? But in practice, I think that's going to be a lot more complex.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see. I would love to revisit this
I love your little smart
end
ass reactions of we'll see. Yeah, we will see. I'm telling you guys, listen, you guys think things just going to work out exactly how you think they're going to work out. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot more complex than that, especially with the mix of armies and units. I think that the other thing is, sure, you could get in the middle of their army, but they could also have an army that's a little bit more spread out and isn't as easy to Vader into after the burst of speed turn. So I think there's a lot of factors to that are going to come up that we are not accounting for.
I do think the broader point that Mike's making, which is that you're going to need to have a plan for a Force user in your face besides just shooting them before they get there.
Yeah,
which is currently viable.
Yeah.
I think that's broadly going to be true, not just because of Force users, but also because we're now seeing Wookiee buses.
Yeah, I think
like that.
Between the bus and burst of speed, I basically think if you don't have a way to get a unit out of melee with a unit that you have activated, you're in some serious trouble.
Unless you also have a lot of your own melee units.
Unless you have a lot of your own melee units, totally. But if you don't have a good way to dislodge a unit in melee, which really the only surefire option for that is force push. It's going to be tough, Yeah,
I think though what's going to happen is, I think we're operating under the assumptions that if you just drop bursts of speed into today's meta and no one adjusts for it. Right. I think maybe you'll get 1 or 2 tournaments where it'll happen, but there's going to be an adjustment, and things like the IRG may be more important in units, right? Who are capable of taking on those melee units head on and taking the damage and working working that out for your army.
So are you saying that the game will change because people will adjust the units that they're taking?
I don't know though. I think there's options, but where is the game now, right? Because I think the game already changed, but I don't think it fundamentally changes the game. I think people adjust one or two units. I know what you're saying, Kyle, but
you are backpedaling.
I
really
don't think
hard
they
right now.
well because I'm trying to think, because I don't think it fundamentally changed. Like I don't think people who really like Rexstar, who are doing well at Rexstar, are going to completely switch out of Rexstar, Mike, even though I know you're doing that for Invader, but that's on you. I don't think everybody's in that same mentality, but I don't know. It's interesting.
I think clone balls are about to get a lot worse. And that's a good, just to be clear, I think that's a good thing. I think they're too strong.
Hold the phone real quick.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, because this is, by the way, listeners at home, this is how fickle my co-hosts are, is that not 2 or 3 weeks ago for Lone Star Open, when we didn't see a single clone ball make it to the top, what was it, 4? I think maybe there was one in top 8. I don't remember, but we didn't see any. And I'm going, yeah, because there's other units. And Mike's like, Rex
to be clear,
I just nobody took it. Now a few weeks later, here we are backtracking.
I don't think it's because of the bus or
dead.
Wookiees. Just to be clear, I think Vader burst of speed is the only reason. Maybe Palpatine burst of speed too,
maybe Dooku and Jedi Luke.
Yeah, there's a number of units with burst of speed on it that I think just wrecks a clone ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not scared about Wookiees in a clone list. I get what you're saying. I appreciate it.
Well, that was a good discussion. I don't know how we initiated that, but it was good.
It's just something that's been bothering me since Mike, was it the last Scoundrels cast? I think we talked about it, Kyle. And then I've been seeing all the people talking about it and messaging me about burst of speed, and it's just been irritating me ever since.
It's so good. It is amazing.
I get it's good. I do. It's just, it's not some magic bullet that changes,
it's definitely not.
That changes a bunch of stuff about Vader. You're still going to have to be really good at playing Vader. You're still going to have to be smart. You're still going to have to do things in the right order. You're still going to have to plan your, it's not just some magic thing I can tack onto Vader and become instantly better.
Let's before we sign off for a minute, let's talk about that real quick. Because in general, Force users are extremely high skill cap, right?
Yes.
And there is no such thing as an easy button when it comes to a Force user, up to and including burst of speed. But it does mitigate his primary weakness for people that actually know how to use him. You're not, if you've never played Vader before, you're not going to just be able to slap burst of speed on him and throw him on a table and suddenly win your Vader games.
Yeah, right.
But if you're somebody that's played a lot of Vader, you are going to be able to slap burst of speed on him and suddenly start winning a lot of Vader games.
Yeah,
okay, I'll agree with that. What I was hearing was in Invader League, all these people are going to start playing Vader, and I'm like, oh well, they're not going to be good at it. If
maybe
time...
they won't, but I would be very surprised if there wasn't 2 copies of Vader in the top 8. Calling it now.
I think that's going to require people to actually play him, which I'm not convinced will happen.
Sure.
I do think that there will be people that are trying burst on those other ones I listed that are already being played, like Luke and Dooku. I definitely think you will see at least 3 burst Force user lists in the top 8. Whether those are Vader or other Force users, I guess we'll see. But I think they easily could be Vader if experienced Vader players took that leap. I'm not convinced that'll happen. I think that there are people that don't have the faith.
Kyle plays Darth Vader and Elims.
You didn't ask me though. I was playing for Elims.
I didn't.
I mean, clearly, not counting any chickens have to get there first, but one step at a time and all that. But I would, if I were to find myself in that position, I would not be ruling out a Vader burst of speed list. So, yeah. But I'd also have to waffle between that and Super Tactical Droid. So I don't know.
Well, the Super Tactical Droid will definitely not be out by then, right?
It might be. I mean,
Oh.
it's I think it's October 1st, right?
Oh, it's the same date as Yoda.
Yeah, I think so. I think all this stuff could potentially be legal at basically the same time. Let me see. What is it actually? Yeah, October 1st is the official date on the Asmodee page. Clearly, that could slip.
Yeah. Grumble,
I
grumble.
do sort of wish that we would just like I don't maintain the same units from like start of round robin to end of elims.
I think it would be kind of boring though, at least in this case, just because what's currently legal when round robin is starting is like what's already been legal for the last couple months.
No doubt, no doubt. I just from like tournament integrity standpoint.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's really two separate tournaments. It's like a qualifier tournament and then like an eliminations tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts?
Yeah, join us next week as I talk about bursts of speed again.
We did miss one thing in the news that we probably should talk about.
What's that?
Very briefly, there is another mini extravaganza September 9th to 11th on AMG's Twitch.
Oh, good. Another weekend of hobby related things where they're going to sprinkle in news.
I think they have actually said they will talk specifically about like Legion on that, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
was that thing they did last year where they it was just those two people who talked about Legion and they showed off the models and all of the
I think
tank
Rick
was-
is on
which
there
was-
a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was cool.
yeah, they showed the tank and the lat, right?
I'd welcome that sort of thing again.
Yeah. I mean, it's 3 days, so a lot of it was hobby. I mean, but I think it's if they're going to talk about Legion, like it would great to that's a great platform to know what's coming next. So hopefully they take the bull by the horns there.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get to see Will's face, so we can put a face to the.
Yeah. He's definitely been on a bunch of the Marvel streams.
Yeah, I know. I'm just. I mean,
know,
in a Legion context.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I'm Kyle.
you're not going to say we're the notorious scoundrels?
I honestly just forgot. Do I normally do that
Well,
like
I'm
before?
Kyle. All right, bye,
Like,
everybody.
okay, all right, that's cool.
In my brain, I'm so tired, man.
Well, I'm
I've
He
Kyle.
misses a week, and we've got to reboot him.
yeah, just
All right.
just restart.
All right.
Did you
I'm
restart your
taking a
computer?
suppression token. Here's your override. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. We are the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle.
I'm Mike.
Well, I'm Jay.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.